What's going on, guys? It is me, your boy John with Grand Exploration, and welcome to another much needed episode of The Build. As you saw a couple weeks ago, we did the whole Oregon run and it was amazing. The Owyhees were like no other, and I can't wait to go back. But before we do, we got to do a couple things on the Granite Grand. Nothing is broken, don't worry, but they're on their way to getting broken if I don't replace them now, and that is the tie rods. I was at the shop last week changing out my UCAs, but I unbolted my tie rod ends, and just did a little test on them because they're supposed to kind of keep their own weight and keep up. Nah, these things are just flopping all over the place, bottoming out on each other, and so the inner tie rods are just shot. Some could say maybe it's the 35s. I don't think it's the 35s because I just got the 35s. I think it's a long time coming. They are the original tie rods, and it is just time for them to get replaced. My buddy CJ at his shop, when I was there last, was telling me that there could possibly be a drop down kit for these tie rods so that they sit where they're supposed to be. I'm still looking into that. I don't know if they make that for the WK2. I will definitely let everybody that has a WK2 know if I find something. Or if you know about it already, let me know. Drop it in the comments. I really appreciate it. Or DM me on IG at grand_exploration. But without talking too much, I'm going to jump into this. I'm going to go step by step on how to do these tie rods because it is a really simple job. It's so simple, you could fix it on the trail if you needed to. But after you get it done, make sure you go and get a proper alignment. So if you haven't hit subscribe, smack the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. And let's dive into these tie rods. Let's do it. All right, guys, easy part's done. Wheels are off. Now let's look at our tie rods. And don't judge me. This thing is filthy, dirty, gross from that last Hawaii Oregon trip. But, you know, I say if it's not this dirty, then you're not using your Jeep properly. But I am planning to clean all this out right here once we're done. So I'm going to keep the wheels off and clean this as well as the engine bay, which look out for that coming up. I'm going to do a full video on how to clean out your engine bay because I know a lot of people are a little anxious and scared to clean out their engine bay thinking they're going to ruin it. So I will show you guys exactly what I do to clean my engine bay from all that dirty, gross grime and mud. But back to the tie rods. This job is so easy, it's almost fun. So first what we're going to do is we're going to unbolt our tie rod end. This is going to be a 21 millimeter. I'm going to use a whack-a-packa or a impact, and it will come right up. If you don't have an impact, you're going to need to use an Allen key. I can't remember what size that is, but I will post that right about here. And so you'll put an Allen key in here with a pass-through 21 mil socket or wrench, and just back that thing out while keeping your Allen wrench stationary, and she will pop up. So let's get that done. Easy peasy. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the nut on for a few threads like that, and then I'm going to lift this lower control arm up to get some space between this boot and the knuckle, and then we're going to smack this knuckle a little bit with a persuader or a mallet, and she should come out. I suspect this one's not going to be so hard because I actually had these unbolted last week, so we'll see. Now the key to lifting this LCA up for this job is make sure you do not put it under your rotor or your hub, all that, because you need this to be able to turn freely so you can manipulate this tie rod end out of the knuckle. So we're going to move it directly under the LCA, the kind of elbow there. This is an old jack, forgive me. takes forever. And you don't need to lift it super high. Just get some space. Yes. About there. And now, I'm not gonna beat her like she stole something. I'm just gonna kind of give her some love taps. Right about there. Then I'm gonna do a couple little taps on top of this nut. There she goes. Oh, she's loose now. I'll go ahead and take that nut off. Kind of manipulate this. And there she goes. She's free. And actually, I made a little bit of a mistake. I got ahead of myself. Because our next step is to loosen this jam nut here. Let me see. Right. We're going to loosen this jam nut. And in order to do that, I need to put this back in the knuckle for just a second. So, just so she stays stationary while I loosen this jam nut. Okay, now I suspect this jam nut is going to be a little sticky because I don't know when she's ever been taken off. Hasn't with me as long as I've owned it. So hit it with some PB Blaster, some juice, as my boy Mike at Fuel Nominal would like to say. We'll get her all sucky now. All right. And now, all right, give her a little. She's a little tight. All right, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. I was having a heck of a time getting this jam nut off. I ended up using the longest 1 1/16 freaking wrench. You can use like channel locks or locking grips, whatever. But I had to get under here and just get as much leverage as I possibly could. If you got a breaker bar that can fit between all this junk, I highly suggest it. But now we got this jam nut loose, and I almost stripped it there. Got a lot of grime on this post. So I was soaking it with PB Blaster. Just been working at it for a little bit now. You just got to use all your muscle. Alright. So the jam nut is backed off. Now I'll go ahead and take this tie rod end back out. All right. Now, this piece or this part is very important. We're going to back this tie rod end out, but you want to count how many twists or revolutions you do backing out, because that's going to be the same amount that you put it right back in place with the new one. So 1, 2, 3, and so on until she fully is off of this post. So I got 19 twists out of this thing for it to come off. In the video I use as reference, they had 21, so I don't know if it's a make and model difference there, but I had 19 on mine. And then also, my boot is not ripped or anything, but that ball joint, she's loosey-goosey. Look at that. If I take the new one, if we look at the new one, she can't even move. Look at that. Ugh, boom. It's like a stick shift. That's nice. And then also the inner tie rod, look at that. That's how you know those things are bad. They should be able to keep their own weight up. This one's bottoming out. Symptoms you'll probably experience, other than abnormal tire tread wear, is pulling on the road. Mine was starting to pull me one way or the other. Any imperfection in the roadway, it's just going to, get away from you as far as the steering wheel goes. So there's some symptoms to look out for. But yeah, she should not be flopping like that. All right, next we're going to go ahead and take this jam nut off. And we'll go ahead and take this clamp off of the boot. Back her out. And then it's going to be kind of hard to see, but you have another clamp on the boot on this side. You'll see a little risen piece. I got a lot of mud in there. You can take a flathead and just kind of push it out of the way. I wish I could get you a better look, but there's just a little aluminum band around this boot, and then there's like a tooth sticking up. It can be over here, it can be over here, it can be down here. You just got to look for it, and then just get your flathead into it and pry it away, or you can kind of hammer the back of that flathead. Alright, so there's that ring back here that I just kind of put the flathead on and moved her back, and now we can pull this boot off. Pull that freaking boot off. There we go. Now, looks like, well, here's the ring. There's the old ring. It's not reusable. But it looks like I got a little more of a problem than you might, because I got power steering fluid actually inside of my steering rack. That's an issue. So I need to get that fixed. I gotta call my buddy the mechanic, CJ, and get that fixed. But as far as this, we'll go ahead and finish this inner tie rod, get that mounted. So the next step is going to be to loosen this piece. I actually video messaged my buddy to see if that was power steering fluid that came out of here. I'm not sure yet. It could just be road grime if the boot was bad. It looks like I got a little crease in the boot. It could just be grease mixed with dirt, sand, and water, because I know power steering fluid's like red or amber, so I don't know, we'll see. But either way, I'm still going on with the job, and we need to loosen up this guy. It's kind of hard to reach. You can kind of reach your arm under the lower control arm and get a grip on it, but it's going to be a righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Just got a breaker. Alright, so to break this, I kind of came up from under the lower control arm, grabbed it here, then once you break her, just twist her off. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of wipe this out a little bit, clean her up. Alright, and then we take our new inner tie rod, screw her in. Alright, now out of the factory it came with the grease already. We're going to go ahead and add some more, kind of pack it in. So go ahead and move this ball joint around, get some grease in there, push it in, twist it around. Let it go and get behind it. Now we'll go ahead and tighten this up. Get her as tight as you can get it. Pretty darn tight. All right, now we got our boot. And if you're using the Torque brand tie rods, this boot is a little thicker than the OEM, so you may not be able to get your OEM clamp on the end of this. You may have to use like a zip tie. I'm going to use this for now, but I think I'm going to go ahead and get some of those metal zip ties. They seem to be better. But yep, here's the boot. We're going to run her on. Make sure the end is fully seated. Just push her on. Make sure she's even on all sides. Alright, go ahead and twist her, make sure she's even on all sides. Seems good. Then we'll go ahead and take the zip tie. And you can use some pliers or something to make sure you pull it all the way tight. Make sure you get it on there evenly. And that seems to be good. And just cut off the excess. Cool. And now I will also use a zip tie for the end because, like I said, I'd like to use my OEM clamp, but it won't fit on there. That small black one wasn't big enough, so now I gotta use an ugly white one on here. But it's just temporary. Alright, almost done. Now, slide on your jam nut. And take your new outer tie rod in. And now this is where you remember how many spins it took to take it off. That's how many you're going to use to put it back on. So once you get it started, if I can get it started. Come on. If it wants to start, there we go. Okay. So I had 19. 1, 2, 19. All right. Now your post should be sticking straight up. And go ahead and bring your jam nut to meet it. Now I'm going to temporarily tighten this jam nut, but when you're all said and done, if you're able to torque it to I think about 55 foot-pounds, 50 to 55. If you can't torque it, just get as tight as you can, because 55 is not a lot. And now we'll hook her back up. Now, as you guys see now she can hold her own weight. She's not just flopping around. That's how it should be. There. There we go. And now, get your 21 mil nut on there. Now you're going to torque this down to 70 foot-pounds. All right. I'm just going to get her somewhat tight with the Ugga Dugga. Get her in there. Finish tightening this guy up. Wrong way. All right. And now, go ahead and torque her to 70. I think that was our click. Let's do a safety click. 70 foot-pounds. All right, good job, guys. You just replaced your inner and outer tie rods. If you only need to do the inner, hey, even easier. But now you guys know, saving you some money, that's the goal. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, I really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe, like it, and share it to someone who needs to know. And, oh yeah, now make sure you go get your alignment. All right, like always, guys, I love you. Peace.